Hey y'all, thank you so much for clicking on my video and for joining the live stream. I hope y'all can hear me okay. Actually, I can test that myself. Okay, great, y'all can hear me. We have several topics to get into today. And since y'all have had to wait a couple of days for this live stream, I'm doing 3.5 to kind of 4 topics. One of them I combined into one. But we have a lot to get into. I'm so excited to chat with y'all. Hi, Queen Verta Sanchez. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for moderating as always. Thanks to everybody who's here. I see you, Mina Ruth. Thank you so much for being here. Emma D, Karen M, Antoinette Johnson. I'm sorry, Antoinette. What am I talking about? Hi, Gwen Daniel. Hi, Joan Commonwealther. Thank y'all so much. Oh, hey, Colette McCullough. It's good to see you too. Thank y'all so much for being here. So we are going to get into quite a few topics today. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we have a couple of things we have to talk about. So first of all, I know y'all have probably already talked about this because when it came out, I actually had something different on the docket, but Prince Harry's exclusive statements to People magazine, that made me very happy. So we're gonna start with that today. Then we have to get into EggHead. Y'all already know William loves irritating me. I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna start taking it personal. I just think he does things to get on my nerves personally. At least that's how I react to it. So we have to talk about EggHead and his latest shenanigans. That little egg stays rotten. And then we also have to talk about some new developments or some new appearances from Harry and Meghan. So we have quite a few things to talk about. So before we do, I have to say thank you so much, Kat Harlem, for the super chat. Kat Harlem says, hello, Sharion and Squatties. Thank you so much for being here. And that pound cake in your profile picture looks good. It looks real good. Now, see, you getting like Meghan, tempting me with food and things. I'm always trying to eat better. And then I go watch With Love Meghan and I'm like, why are you tempting me? But that profile picture looked really good. So first we're going to get into segment 1. As y'all know, it's been a while. So we watch a segment and then we come back and convene. I read comments. We have conversation and dialogue, the whole 9. I used to do a more traditional live stream where we would just talk about things as they came up, but I actually like the segments because it's easier for people who watch on replay to go directly to the topics that they want to hear about first. So that's why I do it like that. It's been a lot easier for me as well to kind of keep the conversation streamlined. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and play the segment. Keep your comments coming, and then we will continue our conversation on the flip side.
Harry spoke out for the first time regarding Meghan's as-ever success. He's very happy for his wife, and in an exclusive for People magazine, he gave a full-on statement of support and shushed the critics. Once again, this article is in People magazine, and it's written by Simon Perry and Aaron Hill, titled Prince Harry Speaks Out for the First Time on Meghan the Duchess of Sussex's as-ever brand success. Quote, I'm so happy for my wife. I am so happy for my wife and fully support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do, the Duke of Sussex tells People. Prince Harry couldn't be prouder of Meghan the Duchess of Sussex's success in her business ventures. And can I get a pat on my back for managing to say Meghan the Duchess of Sussex's success perfectly the first time without choking on my own tongue like usual? That deserves a like. If you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and like it now for that and that alone, because that's probably the only time that's going to happen. Let's continue. The Duke of Sussex has been a constant supportive presence as his wife stepped back into the spotlight this spring with the launch of her Netflix series with Love Meghan in March and the debut of her lifestyle brand As Ever, which sold out its entire product line in under an hour. Quote, I am so happy for my wife and fully support absolutely everything she's done and continues to do, Prince Harry tells People in this week's exclusive cover story. I'm incredibly proud, he adds. Harry made a brief appearance in his wife's Netflix series, appearing in the final episode during a celebratory brunch for Meghan's business. When Harry arrives, the two lean in and share a quick kiss, and Harry tells her, quote, you did a really great job. I love it. Oh, that's sweet. In addition to her show and lifestyle brand, Meghan also recently launched a new Lemonada Media podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, which premiered on April 8th, and we are currently recapping every Tuesday on this channel. Prince Harry's love for his family is fueling his fight for security protection in the UK as the long-running legal battle hits a critical pitch. Harry has become a familiar figure in Britain's courtrooms, fighting back against the tabloid press with unyielding resolve. Yes, he absolutely has, and he has all of our support. I'm so proud of how hard he is going for this. His safety is not something to be compromised on, and it's absolutely not something to be compromised on with the safety of his family either. I'm so proud of him. He definitely picked up Diana's torch, and he is moving full steam ahead. But the case to restore his state-funded official security, and I also want to point out, yes, part of the fight is for state-funded official security, but he has also requested to pay for his own security, and that was denied as well. So it's obviously not about the funds that are going into the security. It's about keeping him safe in the UK. And one would ask, why is that a problem? For many reasons. And y'all have heard my extensive feelings about that. The fact that he was born royal and it should be that without question. Moving on. He's also fifth in line to the throne. I can't believe this is even a conversation. We also know the significant threats that have been placed upon his life and the life of his family, including his children. That and that alone should yield him security. But the fact of the matter is he is a royal family member. He served in the British Armed Forces for 10 years. He did 2 years in Afghanistan, and he was considered a prime target for terrorists and still is. There are 1,000,001 reasons why Harry not only needs security, but deserves it without question. And it deserves to be paid for. But the fact that they won't even let him pay for it, again, it's not about the money. It's not about the status. It's about trying to bring harm to Harry and that's in his family. And that's just the fact of the matter. But let's continue. Can't believe anybody would even look at that and think twice about the fact that he deserves security. Let's stop. Let's continue. Y'all will be here all day. Y'all know how I get about this. Harry has become a familiar figure in Britain's courtrooms, fighting back against the tabloid press with unyielding resolve. But the case to restore his state-funded official security, which was removed in 2020 after he and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, has always mattered the most, he told People as he left the Royal Courts of Justice in London on April 9th. The bid isn't just a legal appeal for him. It's a fight to protect Meghan and their children, and perhaps a final chance at reconciliation with his father, King Charles. And again, why would King Charles want to avoid reconciling with his own son and his family? Again, I feel like the right questions aren't being asked, and the questions aren't being asked to the right person. I feel like more questions should be posed to the rest of the royal family as to why aren't they supporting Harry in this bid to get his security back? And the fact of the matter is, why did they have a hand in removing it in the first place? There are so many questions and so many different ways we could be asking these questions because there are 1,000,001 answers we need. And I don't think we'll get those answers from Harry. He's absolutely solving a problem he didn't create. But the answers need to come from the people who stripped him of his security and are continuing to pose a problem for his safety. And that's his family. And of course, Ravek. The relationship between father and son remains strained, and the courtroom tensions mirror the personal rift between them. King Charles's advisors are directly tied to Ravek, the government's Royal and VIP Executive Committee, which is denying Harry the protection he seeks. See what I mean? Wrong. These are the right questions asked to the wrong person. One of the Duke of Sussex's core beliefs is that the stripping of security was a calculated attempt to control him and Meghan to deter them from stepping away from royal life and starting a new chapter outside the UK. I don't want to get into a tangent, but it bothers me because that is not only 100% true, but the fact that they even had to step away, which is something that was not a first choice for them. They were happy to stay committed and continue to work. They just needed to be safe and to stop being harassed And all they asked was, could we just be treated like everyone else, or at the very least just stop abusing us? And that was out of the question. So everything that they have had to fight for has been put upon them by no doing of their own. There have been no missteps from Harry and Meghan. There have been no misdeeds from Harry and Meghan. There have been no stepping out of line or even stepping a foot wrong, if that's the phrase they love to use, by Harry and Meghan. They have always operated with integrity, a high degree of moral character, and they have always gone full out for the establishment, for the people of the UK, and for themselves and their family, and of course for the missions that they're part of, their philanthropy, and for their foundation, and for everything that they are committed to. They always go 100%, 110% above and beyond. And all they have asked is, could you stop trying to bring harm to us? And that was denied. And then when they had to step back for their own safety and well-being, they were then denied the provisions to do that safely. When in fact, they could have just not tried to bully Harry and Meghan. They could have just not tried to get them killed. And I feel like every time we talk about this, if that doesn't come up, then we haven't talked about the core of this. They tried to get them killed, and they are still doing that. I mean, this whole fight is to keep Harry and his family safe. Why is that even a question? Especially when Ravek is comprised of several people that work for King Charles directly. So it's ridiculous to even pretend that this is not King Charles and William trying to bring harm to Harry. And that's just my personal third party, outside looking in perspective. But I'm not wrong. Let's continue. But in Harry's perspective, the decision only revealed the lengths the palace was willing to take and became his final straw. He admits that this realization was difficult to swallow and deepened a rift that was already raw. Harry feels that his father, the king, who was the ceremonial head of state, could easily intervene and have his security reinstated, though the palace has consistently denied this. Notice how the palace is always happy to deny something that brings accountability to them, or that would bring accountability to them. They're always quick to deny those things, but they refuse to step in when people were literally trying to kill Harry and Meghan. They don't have anything to say about that. But they're always happy to deny things when it means, oh, we don't have to be accountable for that, even though we can all see the direct links to you and bringing about this whole issue to Harry and Meghan. Like, we can see exactly how you're involved, but you're happy to come out and deny that. Yet when people have gotten on Harry and Meghan's property and tried to bring harm to them, when people were flying drones over their home, when people were dropping their location right before you pulled their security, by the way, when things have happened that have brought harm to Harry and Meghan, hell, when they had a miscarriage, Palace couldn't say boo about it, but they were happy to talk about Kate's Botox. So interesting when they choose to speak up, isn't it? I don't mean interesting. I'm putting that in quotes. For the Duke, it echoes the painful history of his childhood. He sees chilling parallels between his own situation and that of his late mother, Princess Diana, who, after her divorce from Charles in 1996, was left without palace protection. Diana died in a car crash in Paris in 1997, where she had been pursued by paparazzi and guarded only by private security. Now, Harry is determined to avoid the same fate for Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, and himself. Quote, his presence here and throughout this appeal, his lawyer Shahid Fatima told the court, is a potent demonstration of how much this appeal means to him and his family. I could not agree more. Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments section below on this. It's so sad that Harry even has to go through this, but like I said before, I hate that they have to go through things like this. What I will say is the only upside that I can really come up with is that, one, these things do make them stronger. They obviously show the world just what they're made of, and that they will not back down when they really believe in something. They operate based on their core beliefs. They go full out, and they are excellent public figures and world leaders. They absolutely are. And every time these little quote unquote challenges are thrown their way, again, of no doing of their own, but every time they have to meet these challenges, they absolutely rise to the occasion and continuously prove just what they're made of. And in every effort to slight them, the royal family simply proves just how they pale in comparison to the Sussexes. They didn't say the weapons wouldn't be formed. They just said they wouldn't prosper. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Good for you, Harry. Keep up the good fight.
So the security conversation irritates my soul because it shouldn't even be a conversation. The fact that this has gone on as long as it has, and there haven't been more people, especially people who are within the establishment or in parliament, they haven't just called out how crazy it is that an actual member of the royal family, literally fifth in line to the throne has to fight for security. It's crazy. I mean, his children are literal prince and princess. He himself is a prince. He's the son of the current monarch. It's sad. Like, I laugh to keep from being irritated, because how is this even a question? Every time it comes up, I'm like, am I in the twilight zone? Like, is this a real thing? It's kind of like saying, oh, the children of the president and the first lady shouldn't have Secret Service here in America. Now, I mean, as long as we have the president and first lady we have right now, I really couldn't give a damn. But the fact of the matter is, it's what's done here. And if the kids of the president didn't have Secret Service or some sort of security or protection, people would look at that like it was crazy. Like, being in a position of leadership, and whether inherited or you had to campaign and you had to get elected, being in that position puts you in a vulnerable state, and it puts anyone in close proximity in a very vulnerable state. People are very passionate about their views, and you can only side with one side or the other. It's really hard to toe the line when it comes to leadership or politics in general. And the royal family, the current royal family in Great Britain, they've made some bad relationships. They have some serious bad blood. I mean, I know y'all have seen those processions or receiving lines when a member of the British royal family is going down the line and there's someone Irish in the line, and the looks they give them. It's actually one of my favorite genres of photos. They be reading the hell out of them with their eyes. But that's just one example. I mean, and it's not even like we talk about this as if it's some distant conversation. We talk about it quite often, how many jewels and how much money and how many bodies that the current royal family and the establishment that sits right now, how many things they've stolen. We just had a whole video that we did at the end of last year where in their colonizing efforts, I got to be careful with YouTube, but in their colonizing efforts, that they stole the son of the sitting king, ruler at that, wherever it was, I can't remember right now, I have to go back and watch the video, but they stole the son, and then he eventually died in Great Britain, and then they just kept his body, and then they buried him underneath another person in the royal family, so they actually can't extract him, so they claim. I don't think they know where the body is. I'm just gonna be real. I think they discarded it. That's my personal feelings. But when the family has asked for the body back so he can be laid to rest with his real family, they were like, oh, we can't get him, he's underneath one of ours. And I just think that's ridiculous. Just exhume them both and then put the other one back. But anyway, the Kohinoor diamond, like, we could talk about this a lot. I mean, how many jewels have we talked about that Kate wears that are actually blood jewels or stolen, or others have claimed ownership? Like, we've talked about this a lot. And so just from those little things alone, the royal family, the entire family, they're marked people. They have to have security. The fact that Prince Harry actually served 2 tours in Afghanistan and was actually considered a prime target, and that did not go away when he no longer served. I mean, the fact is, people are still trying to get access to their property. People have literally in New York, we just saw the car chase. Like, they are in constant fight for survival when it comes to keeping themselves in a distance between them and a threat, because they're public figures. Even celebrities who don't have any standing in war or politics or government or anything, even celebrities have to keep themselves at bay from certain people, because being known puts you at a significant risk. I can't believe I even had to say that. It's kind of silly. I feel like they make a fool out of people by just making us explain this silly stuff, because clearly, you know, if people know who you are and you don't know who they are, you are at a disadvantage. Simply put, people feel very passionate about government and all that stuff. People feel passionate about politics. You have to have some distance. And the fact that Prince Harry has had significant threats placed upon his life just from serving in Afghanistan and just from serving in the military, but also for marrying a Black woman, that hasn't stopped. Even a member of the Met Police, an investigator from the Met Police, came out and confirmed every single thing Harry and Meghan have said. And he even shared some of his own encounters with trying to protect them. And some of the mail they were getting white powder in the mail, and their comms teams were having to take a lot of precaution. Like, that and that alone should tell us that he needs to have security. The fact that it was pulled in the first place is where we should be starting that conversation. That should be where the conversation begins, not the fact that Prince Harry has to fight for it, because we shouldn't even get to this point. The moment it was pulled, it should have been immediately questioned, and there should have been some sort of outrage. I'm of the belief of that. But y'all, somebody left me a comment, and I have to share this. Somebody left me a comment and said, Sharion, you are always calling for an uprising. I can always see you're American. And when I tell you I hollered, because we are quick to protest. Oh my God, but you're talking to us when you should be talking to France, because they burns it down when shit don't go right. Do you hear me? France said, oh, we will burn it all down. Don't play with me. See, that's the energy that we should be having, because we protest and they mow us down in the streets. But in France, you know, they still respect their citizens to a certain degree. So they let them mow stuff down and they burns it to the ground. That's who you're probably thinking of. But somebody said, I can see you're American every time you call for an uprising. But no, seriously, the moment Prince Harry's security was removed, there should have been some form of uprising. There should have been a problem. There should have been some kind of walkout, some kind of sit-in. There should have been something. Because honestly, I can't imagine doing that to any member of the royal family. But I couldn't imagine picking a worse member of the royal family to antagonize. Prince Harry has always been the favorite, and he didn't get that way by accident. He's the most likable, and he's the only one with a real soul, the only born royal with a soul. And the fact of the matter is, and he was the queen's favorite. Like, I can't imagine thinking that Prince Harry was the one of all the members of the royal family to pick at this way, when you have Andrew sitting right there, like a big old perverted thumb, just... If you're going to pull anybody's anything, wouldn't you start with a pedophile? Well, then in that case, we probably get all the men. Let me hush. Because it's not even about him being a pedophile, because most of Charles's friends are, we have a video on that on Patreon. Feel free to go check it out. There's only so much I can say here on the YouTube. But yes, Charles has quite a few friends who have been charged with some form of trafficking or pedophilia. A few friends. Some of which even advised the queen at his request. So yeah, I don't think he cares about what Andrew has been accused of or what Andrew has clearly done. I mean, the pictures prove it, and he also does sweat. So like, come on. But the fact of the matter is, Prince Harry's a public figure. He hasn't done anything wrong. You can't even really compare him and say, oh, he hasn't done anything as bad as Andrew. We can pause there and say he hasn't done anything. ... He has not done anything wrong. It's one of those reasons why in the very beginning, when I used to say, it bothered me when people would precede anything with Meghan or Harry and say, regardless of how you feel about them, or it doesn't matter how you feel about Harry or Meghan, or whether you like Meghan or not, like don't preface your conversation with that, because it implies that Harry and Meghan have done something to warrant the unwarranted hate, and they haven't. It's not even a regardless if you like them or not. If you say you don't like Harry and Meghan, I'm already assuming something about you. And it's not even an assumption. It's more like you're confirming something to me about you. Because the fact of the matter is they haven't done anything to be disliked. It's one thing to not be interested. I mean, I'm not interested in a lot of things. There's a lot of things that happen in the world that a lot of people love that I'm just like, I couldn't really get into that. That's one thing. But to actively dislike Harry and Meghan is a weird thing to me, considering they haven't done anything wrong. And the fact of the matter is I have been at the behest of that before. Not the behest. I have been at the helm of that before, where people just, I don't know what it is, I just didn't like you at first. They love telling you that after the fact, not immediately be like, oh, well, you can go ahead and go back to not liking me. I don't like me now, shit, I don't care. But no, people who say that, you're telling me about you, not me. When you say you don't like somebody and you don't have a reason, that's because that person's existence triggered something that you feel inadequate about, that you feel insecure about, that you feel that you aren't quite where you would like to be. Because if that were the case, that person's existence wouldn't tell you anything about yourself. That person's existence would simply be what it is. You wouldn't be making judgments about them. You wouldn't be putting them in a box. You wouldn't be searching for a label. You wouldn't be finding a way to undermine their existence if you felt secure in your own. And so when people say that kind of stuff, or I don't know what it's about Meghan, I just don't like her. I know what it is. She's pretty, she's smart, she's successful. She got the man that you probably grew up thinking you was gonna get, and then, and she's the most privately wealthy, or the only self-made royal, self-made millionaire who's a member of the royal family. So she's successful, she's independent, and she's got the nerve to be nice with a good soul. Like, good God, y'all remember when I said so much thunder? That's why I said that. And so when people say they don't like Meghan, I'd be like, oh, take a number and pick one. I'm sure there's a million and one things you can dislike about it, because insecure people will find a problem anywhere. You know, they say it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Go get somebody insecure. They'll find it. They'll find it. They search far and wide for a problem, so they will find it. Insecure people are the loudest people, and they don't even be realizing they're broadcasting every single insecurity to the world. And I just sit there and I let them. I just listen. And you know what? Honestly, I don't even have to give you an example. Just look at a Meghan hater. And so anyway, getting back to the point of all this, the whole conversation around Harry's security irritates me, because it shouldn't even be a conversation of whether he gets it back. The conversation should be, why did he lose it in the first place? And we know why. We know why. But when they have that conversation on the public front, they need to have it there. They need to start there. We don't need to start with the solution. We need to start with how the problem occurred. That's where we need to begin. Why did he lose it in the first place? Oh, he stepped back. Why did he lose it in the first place? Why did he lose it in the first place? Step back or not. Why did he lose it in the first place? Because here's the thing. When he's not at an engagement, he's still royal. Harry was a baby and y'all knew his name. I say this all the time. The world knew who Harry was before he did. That alone inherits his security. That should be why he has security, because y'all made him a target by sharing his details with the world. If y'all had allowed him to be a private citizen until he became of age and can make that choice on his own, then hell, this could be a conversation about security. He inherited this threat knowingly as an adult whose prefrontal cortex was fully formed. He had the ability to make that decision. Then we can have this conversation. The fact of the matter is, Harry was exposed to the world when his mother and father walked out of the hospital with him. Harry was looking for Similac and y'all was taking photos. He has no ability to consent to the type of attention nor the type of threats that he receives, because y'all put him in that position and then have the nerve to make him a sitting duck. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. And so in my opinion, unless he can change his identity when he is not a working royal, when he is not at an engagement on behalf of the crown, if Harry can unzip a Harry suit and walk out as somebody else, Bebob or Jimbo or whoever else, if we know who Harry is when he's not at engagement, then he needs security. Simply put, it should have nothing to do with whether or not he's a working royal. And to be fair, it really never has had anything to do with that. That became more of a, let's find a way to punish Harry and Meghan, shall we? Because the fact that the sitting king, the current king, like he's the actual monarch, his son is not secure and he's actually having to be in court to fight about that is crazy. It's just crazy to me. But again, I'm an American. As people love to point out, Sharon, you're American, you don't understand. Oh, well, y'all don't want to keep your royal family members safe? What do I not understand about that? Y'all think they should die? Like, do I have to be blue-blooded to not understand that people deserve to be safe and you put a significant threat on that man's life? Anywho, let's get to some of these. Y'all know this is like a hot button for me. And there's so many legs to this conversation. There's so much nuance that by the time I touch on everything, we'll have been here for an hour. And I don't want to do that to us. Let's continue. Hi, Joan Commonwealther. Joan Commonwealther says, we know what Charlie Boy... I love when y'all call them these random names. We know what Charlie Boy is trying to do. Harry would not say it out loud, but we can. Sure can. Thank you, Joan. Absolutely. We know exactly what they're trying to do. It's sad, too. And as a son, I can only imagine how difficult that is for Harry to accept, because aside from the royal stuff, that's still that man's family. That is just... whew. Hell isn't hot enough for Charles and William. Hi, Queen Berta Sanchez. Queen Berta, you follow me on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook. I follow you too. It was so cool to see you there. Like outside of YouTube, I was like, oh my God, I know her. It's good to see you. Queen Berta Sanchez says, I want Harry and his family there because they don't want Harry and his family there because all the attention will be on them, not the so-called royal family. Exactly. You know what? That's probably exactly it, because all of this has just been a forever one-sided beef with the royals and Harry and Meghan. That's exactly what it is. They're so jealous, especially considering we all know, and they know we know, that they fumbled the bag. They fumbled having Harry and Meghan working on their behalf. I would take that bitterness to the grave. Because do you know how inadequate and inept you have to be to lose a Harry and Meghan and then double down on it as if it was your first choice? Get out of here. We know y'all are butthurt. They are big gets. They are big gets. They are media magnets. They are attention magnets. When they walk into the room, people immediately pay attention. The current royals don't have that effect. They've had 1,000,001 engagements and have not gotten nan bleep front page coverage globally, and barely any locally, because my spies on the ground in Great Britain talk about how very little coverage they now get on their engagements, if they bother to go to any, because they barely work. So clearly Harry and Meghan are getting under their skin by simply existing. But that's just a hater in general. Hi, Legs. It's good to see you. Legs says, I really can't imagine my father and brother trying to kill me. You know what, Legs? Consider yourself blessed, because most of us couldn't. That's a very crazy thing to have to wrap your mind around. I'm surprised Prince Harry has remained as grounded as he has and hasn't completely flown the coop, because I don't know, that might tip me over the edge. I might crash out. They are horrible people, sure are. They have all the money, and yet they are petty and jealous of the spare that they wanted to stay a scapegoat. And that's exactly how abusers behave. If I can't abuse you, then I don't want you going anywhere else. How dare you? You owe it to me to be abused by me. Abusers are some crazy ass people, and they come in a lot of different forms. A lot of times people think abuse is just physical. Abuse is mental, verbal, emotional, physical as well, financial. There's a lot of different forms of abuse, and the royal family, each member of the royal family checks off some box in that, and William checks off several. It's really sad. Anyway, keep y'all's comments coming. We're going to go to segment number 2. This one is a little bit longer than the other one, but I got carried away. You know, anytime I have to talk about that little rotten cracked egg, I get carried away. So I had to edit this down because I went on quite the tangent. I said, they might actually commit me. Let me cut this down a little bit. It just helps to know that I was hungry when I recorded this. So that didn't help either. Y'all got me talking about eggs and I want a bite of food. So that didn't help. But I have to talk about segment 2. Keep the comments coming and we'll continue on the other side.
I don't need any more reasons to want to crack a few eggs, but William, aka Egghead, is determined to give me plenty every other day. It is something else with this weirdo, and today is no different. Recently, he appointed Jason Knauf to yet another new role. This time with the Earthshot Prize. Now, here's the thing. The win there is that the Earthshot Prize isn't doing anything. So it's not like Jason is actually going to get any kind of prestige or honor. He's giving him a new role on a sinking ship. But that's not the point. It's the fact that he continues to praise out loud people who have caused harm to his sister-in-law and his brother. And recently, I got a comment from someone claiming to be a squatty who went off on me in the comment sections because I said that William was Meghan's brother-in-law. And she said, that is a role of honor and he can't call himself her brother-in-law and he's not bound to treating her like a brother-in-law because Meghan doesn't care either way. She doesn't care about William. He doesn't have to treat her like a brother-in-law. And I read that and I said, girl, I don't know what side of the fence you're on. Like, I could tell this person just wanted a reason to be mad and needed someone to target, so they got me. But in all my videos, when I have to talk about William, I am always going to acknowledge how despicable it is that he treats his brother and his sister-in-law the way he does, because the fact of the matter is they are family. They're family by marriage, and Harry and William are family by blood. They have the same mom and dad. They're family. Now, the fact that he does not rise to the occasion and treats them as family is not a slight against Meghan or Harry by any means. That is absolutely a slight against William, especially as the older sibling, and I will always call him out on that. I don't personally care if anyone cares. I don't think for a second that Meghan loses any sleep over how Egghead is behaving. Not at all. She has her own egg in Archie's chicken coop. I don't think in any way that Meghan cares what William or Kate are doing. I care because I am really serious about family and treating family as such. And if he fails to rise to the occasion and I mention him, I'm always going to bring it up. So whether or not Meghan is losing sleep over it isn't ever my concern, because I know that she's not. She has a very full life. She's very happy. She's not concerned with it. She is in her chapter of joy, and I will leave her to be that. But I am in my chapter of reading people down, and William will always be at the top of that list. So at no point is me criticizing William saying that Meghan is losing sleep over it. And I never inferred that. I think, again, this person just wanted a reason to be mad, and they just reached out to hit the person closest in proximity, which just happened to be my video. But the fact of the matter is he should treat Meghan and Harry like family, because they are. And it is an honor and a privilege for him to be able to call them family. The fact that he doesn't, it just continues to show his continued ignorance. But I'm not going to take any heat off of him just because Meghan isn't losing sleep over it, because at no point did I think Meghan cared. Meghan has her own life, her own agendas, and she is killing it. And in no way, in my opinion, should they even be compared. At this point, the Sussexes have shown that they are in a completely other league, far above the other royals who are left over. So I don't compare them. And any of my criticism that I give is not on behalf of anybody other than my own observation. William is a despicable brother and an even worse brother-in-law and a damn sure non-existent uncle. And on all three of those counts, he will always earn a read from me. And every time I have to talk about William, I have the impulse to chunk eggs all over this place. And I know exactly who I want to throw them at. 2 birds, 1 egg. But that's not the point. We have to get into this article from Feminagra, but I wanted to clear that up because I was so shocked by that comment. I mean, they were going off on me for saying that William was despicable for not being a better brother or brother-in-law or uncle. And I was reading that like, I feel like you're on my side, but I feel like you're confused. And I just wanted to almost reach out and give him a hug, but I didn't want the stupid to get on me. So I just blocked him and went on. But I said, at no point does me saying William is a despicable brother-in-law and uncle mean that I think that Harry and Meghan are waiting with bated breath for him to show up for them, because they're not. And those two things aren't mutually exclusive nor synonymous. So I'm not really sure why the comparison needed to happen. But if you're still listening to me, which I doubt, go get some help, love. Get a microphone and share your own opinions. It seems like you have a lot to share, but I don't think you know what direction you want to go in. So if I can offer you any guidance, I would say get an opinion and figure out what side of the fence you're on. That was confusing. I couldn't even get mad. I was laughing. I said, goodness gracious, they're arguing with themselves at this point. Let me go on and block them so the stupid don't get on us. Anyway, we have to read this incredible article from, of course, Feminagra, because I love the way that they have been pulling out these receipts left and right. Let's get into that. Once again, this article is in Feminagra.com, and it's written by Miss Historian, titled Prince William Appoints Aide Tied to Meghan Markle's Smear Campaign. William has appointed Jason Knauf, the controversial former royal aide, as the new CEO of the Earthshot Prize. Y'all remember when I said that William was determined to prove me right in the fact that he makes terrible decisions and he is a complete ignoramus? He continues to make me right about that. And I don't like William, but he is always on my side, is he not? Everything I predict about him, he continues to reinforce it. And this is no different. Now, here's the thing. Like I said before, Jason Knauf is being appointed to a leadership role at Earthshot, meaning he's just going to lead that organization straight to hell like he does everything else. He's not going to be successful because he hasn't been successful. And this is merely a reward and a pat on the back for continuing to be William's henchman. Let's continue. The move has triggered fresh backlash over Knauf's history of involvement in the bullying allegations against Meghan Sussex and his role in aiding the Daily Mail's defense in the lawsuit that she ultimately won in 2021. I love Miss Historian. This decision signals how far the royal family will go to reward loyalty over accountability. Knauf's appointment replaces outgoing CEO Hannah Jones, who will continue advising Kensington Palace. But for many, this is not a routine leadership shift. It's a troubling sign that William remains closely aligned with figures who played central roles in the palace's most damaging episodes, especially its treatment of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Absolutely. Jason Knauf, first emerged in the public spotlight as communications secretary for both William and Prince Harry. In 2018, while still working with the Sussexes, Knauf filed a complaint accusing Meghan of bullying staff. The palace never formally investigated the complaint at the time. Come through, Miss Historian, with the facts. And key staff members later denied supporting it. Even so, someone leaked the details to the press in 2021, just days before Meghan's Oprah interview. We all saw that for what it was. The pattern repeated this year when Knauf resurfaced on 60 Minutes Australia ahead of Meghan's Netflix launch. Now, the funniest part about that, I was irritated with him for that, but the funniest part is that he finally got a first-hand view of how irrelevant he is because no one gave a damn. And that's the most hilarious part. He did all that just to be reminded that he himself is irrelevant. Knauf's decision to support the Daily Mail's defense in Meghan's privacy lawsuit sparked further controversy. Despite initially working for her, he provided emails that aided the tabloid's case. Although Meghan ultimately won in court, of course she did, Knauf's involvement raised ethical questions, as these same accusations are routinely brought up by the media whenever Princess Meghan is promoting her projects. The palace never distanced itself from him. Instead, he was made CEO of the Royal Foundation, received an award from William, and now leads Earthshot. This long-standing alliance has frustrated observers who view Knauf's behavior as part of a broader effort to discredit Princess Meghan. His return to power reinforces the belief that those who undermine her are not just tolerated, but elevated. Absolutely. William's decision to appear on Jeremy Clarkson's show shortly after Clarkson published a violent misogynistic column about Princess Meghan only deepens the outrage. Clarkson infamously wrote that he dreamed of Duchess Meghan being paraded through the streets and shamed. Rather than condemn the remarks, William went on Clarkson's show for a promotional segment, signaling indifference or worse, tacit approval. I agree. I think he was absolutely sending the message that he approved of his behaviors and his comments. Hell, we don't know. William might have written a few of those lines himself. You know he's obsessed. The choice to align with Clarkson mirrors the decision to reinstate Knauf. Both moves suggest William is not only unfazed by the targeting of Meghan, but willing to embrace those who perpetuate it. These relationships have left many questioning William's judgment, especially as Earthshot claims to stand for ethical innovation and global leadership. They really do claim that. I completely forgot about those claims. And that's exactly all they are, is just a bunch of claims, a bunch of hogwash on a page. Installing a figure like Knauf sends the opposite message, that Earthshot is less about vision and more about palace loyalty. Or honestly, palace deviancy. William may see Earthshot as his signature legacy project, but by installing Jason Knauf at the helm, he ties that legacy to scandal, hypocrisy, and a deeply fractured public trust. Yes, Miss Historian is absolutely right about this, but I also have to add, anything aligned with William is going to be aligned with that same indecency, that same lack of public trust, that same deviancy that we get from Knauf. It's just a reminder that he is still in bed with these same evildoers that he used to try and harm his brother and sister-in-law. The fact of the matter is, William himself is tainted. Anything he touches will continue to rot. It's like when Scar took over Pride Rock. He knows that Harry is the far better leader. Meghan is the far better leader. Even the Sussex children are living a far better, more healthier life. He knows that he and himself and everything he has ever cultivated in comparison to Harry and his family pales. It can't even be compared, if we're going to be honest. And I think that is what continues to drive him insane. He's clearly obsessed. If for no other reason, even if he felt like Jason Knauf had every right to do what he did, which of course William would think that because William is an idiot. But let's say he really does believe that Meghan bullied staff and that Knauf was just doing what was right, blah, blah, blah. Let's play this game. Just for appearances alone, just for the simple fact that this is my family, just for the simple fact that we can at some point recover from this. A real leader who really didn't feel like any harm was done on their own behalf and that they were really just trying to do what was right by their family and their country. A person with the belief that they are really doing what's right would not have hired Knauf from that and that alone. Too much controversy, too much overlap. We've had a bad history. I don't know that this is the best idea. I think it sends the wrong message. I want my public to trust me and my family and our institution. The firm needs to have a firm standing, no pun intended, with our public. And we need to make sure they know we are looking ahead and we're putting aside those things. And any mention of you or anyone else who is involved in those scandals might bring about bad memories. And we want to forge a new path forward. I will get you something else to do. But right now we've got to figure this out so that everyone is on the same page. A real leader, a person who had a clear conscience, would move forward with caution. The fact of the matter is, William isn't coming from that headspace. I'm giving him a lot of the benefit of the doubt just for that scenario alone, but I'm saying basically from the outside looking in, even if William truly believed he was on the right side of the issue, he wouldn't hire Jason Knauf for anything else. The fact of the matter is, he knows he's wrong. 2, all of his intent is nefarious. And 3, he doesn't care how he looks to the public because he operates from a self-centered place. He only cares how he looks to himself. And since his view is limited because he has nothing but yes people or I should just say Knaufs around him, then he doesn't know how the public perceives him. But honestly, if William ever comes across this, or if you know William and you want to play this for him, you're an idiot. We all think you're an idiot. And everything you do reinforces our belief that you're an egghead idiot. And everything you do looks ridiculous. While your brother is out here fighting for safety and security that he shouldn't have to fight for, by the way, while your brother is out here meeting wounded and injured and sick service personnel, while your brother is continuing to expand the mission of supporting veterans globally. Something a lot of people fail to do is unite service members on a global level, because by design, you're more so loyal to your country. The fact that what Harry has been able to do is not only create a sister and a brotherhood with people from around the world, but to create a community that continues to support these amazing, valiant heroes all year long, outside of the tournament, outside of the games, but for the simple fact of basic needs and services, or services are meeting their basic needs on a day-to-day basis, helping their children. What Harry has created is what we would call a legacy, because in every person, every role in the typical family dynamic is supported by Invictus Foundation. Not just the service members themselves, but the spouses, the families, the children, the parents of the entire family unit is supported by the Invictus Foundation of a service member, not just the service member. That is a legacy. And then on top of that, what we've seen spawn from Invictus is these new recovery and rehabilitation centers that are not only medical and health geared, but geared towards holistic health as well, and mental and emotional health as well. What Harry is doing is not only breaking boundaries when it comes to service members, not only breaking boundaries when it comes to country loyalty or national loyalty, but he's breaking boundaries on a global level. What he is creating is, in my opinion, a military style UN. Like, he's uniting service members who would typically be fighting on opposite sides in some cases, but they're all coming together to help heal. What Harry is doing is literally a global peace project, the likes of which we really haven't seen, especially where the military is concerned. What Harry is doing is changing lives, not just the lives that he is going to be able to directly affect while he's here on this earth, but the lives of the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren and the great-great-grandchildren of the people who are supported by the Invictus Foundation. The games are amazing, but the foundation itself offers a level of support that William couldn't even begin to fathom, because he isn't involved in any way, shape, or form. And despite him trying his best and his damnedest to attach his name to it, unfortunately, you don't have a legacy project because you aren't led by anything. Your values, your ambitions, none of those things actually garner help towards anyone. They only serve for self-aggrandizement, if we're just going to be real. They only serve to pump you up. And since you have your audience of 5 or 6 fans out there who really love the things that you do and they love to see the shine on the top of that egghead, then you go do that. But while we watch Harry, we need you to just get out the way. We don't even want you to compete, because honestly, anything you do is going to be rancid anyway. And we want to mitigate as much loss as possible. We don't want you affecting lives, because clearly you don't have the Midas touch. What we need you to do is just get the hell out of the way. You have your throne, you have your path, you don't have any decisions to make. All you have to do is walk the line. Go do that. What did Babyface say? Oh, okay, go do that. Go do that. You left Harry for dead. And instead of dying, what Harry did was make a damn good legacy that will outlive him, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, his great-great-grands. In 5 or 6 generations forward, there will be children who will be proud to say, oh, my great-great-great-grandfather was Prince Harry. My great-great-great-grandmother was Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Yeah, I mean, they were related to those British people, the ones in the firm, whatever. Yeah, they went defunct a couple of years later, but my lineage comes from those 2 people. There will be people who are proud of that. Our own American royalty. And never thought I would say that again. But again, like I was alive back then. But the fact of the matter is this: William doesn't have anything to do because he's not led by any one mission, because he doesn't have anything he cares about. He doesn't have anything he's passionate about outside of his own public view. How do people see me? He's a narcissist. He doesn't care about actually doing anything. He just wants people to think he's doing something just so he can be better than his brother. I guarantee you, if all Harry did was sit in the back room, play video games, and smoke weed, William would want to sit in the living room and smoke weed. Like, he would just want to do the one thing right above that. He doesn't care about actually accomplishing anything. He just wants to be better than his baby brother. And isn't that pathetic? Y'all, that's your future king. Like, think about that. He's not fit to run an elementary school, let alone a country, let alone a commonwealth. And the fact that he detests anyone within his commonwealth that is unlike himself is not only a red flag, but it should be a very big cause for concern. Just saying, there's a lot to be concerned about when it comes to William and his impending leadership. And it has nothing to do with Harry and Meghan. Although I think it's clear to anyone looking from the outside looking in, if one was to be deemed a more fit leader, I don't even think it's a question as to who it would be. If you guys could appoint your next king, I guarantee every single vote would be for Prince Harry. You cannot convince me otherwise. Anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And William, keep making these silly ass decisions because you just keep proving everybody right. You're an idiot.
I told y'all I went above and beyond. I got carried away. Oh no, I think we got a deranger in the chat. Can one of the moderators get Krista Clifton an invitation to the door so she can go find a live stream that works for her? Because this one ain't it. But anyway, thank y'all. Dang, y'all were quick. Anyway, yes. So my whole thing that gets on, well, there's a lot, but in this case, the whole thing that bugs me about William is that he could just leave Harry and Meghan alone. Like, you still have that option. While I do think because he is the next in line for the throne, and of course he's their family, I absolutely think he should be trying to make amends. He should be, because the thing is, the person who should be making amends is the person who caused the grievance, him and Charles. That's it. It starts and ends with them. They should be making amends. They should be giving out as many olive branches as they like to lie and claim that they're sending. They should be sending that and then some. But the fact of the matter is, if they actually sent out a real olive branch, then they wouldn't have to keep going back and forth, because Harry and Meghan are very rational people. And even Harry has said the door is open, but it's going to come with contingencies. And they're not used to their scapegoat having boundaries. And that is spiraling them. That's typically how it works, royal or not. When a person has been the scapegoat for a long time and they finally stand up for themselves, other people who have kept them in that toxic cycle don't know how to behave. One, keeping the scapegoat in place almost ensures that you yourself won't become the next scapegoat. So it's beneficial to everyone in the toxic cycle, not just the person at the top of the cycle, to keep the scapegoat in place. So they all work avidly to keep him there because it benefits everybody else. As long as there's someone beneath me on the ladder or the hierarchy, then I don't ever have to worry about being at the bottom. I don't have to worry about these same problems coming to me. And he's aware that this is why he was born, so he's cool with it. They dilute themselves with those ridiculous irrational beliefs so that they have a reason to continue to abuse the person. When the person finally stands up for themselves, and in this case became encouraged to stand up for themselves and had somebody who was going to have their back as they did so, something they never anticipated, someone who was not wowed by the crowns and the jewel and the hierarchy and wasn't obsessed with being in the limelight because she had her own limelight, so she didn't have to sell her soul to get theirs. They weren't used to that. The best thing that could have happened to Harry was marrying an independent woman who was not enthralled by his lifestyle. That was the absolute best thing he could have done. He absolutely chose the very best option, and she did as well. When I tell you equally yoked has a lot of benefits, look at what it did. Look at what it did. Not only is she living a peaceful life now because she stood by him, he is living a peaceful life because he stood by her as well. And that's how it should work. The problem is, it shouldn't come at the expense of your family, because your family should have your back as you're living your best life. Your family should support you in living your best life. Your family shouldn't be the barrier to living your best life. They should help you get there. So the fact that Prince Harry has probably had a decade of realizations, that probably far more than that, but I mean, this last 5-6 years has probably been a whirlwind for him, having to realize the people that I would have given my left arm for and gone above and beyond for, and in many cases I did go above and beyond for, were willing to let me die to prove a point. I know that that has to be something he deals with often. That's not really the thing you can get over. I don't think you can get over that. I think that's something you can learn to live with and you can learn to live through and beyond. But I don't know that that's something you can ever truly put to bed, because the people who brought you here are tasked, supernaturally tasked by God or whoever is at the top of your belief system, who are supernaturally tasked with caring for you and making sure that your well-being is priority. And when that is contested, that has to be quite alarming. I can say, realizing that people who I would have killed and died for wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire, if it meant they got a little bit of an attention or a little bit of a laugh in a crowded room and were willing to let me die so that they could get attention. When I realized that, I said, oh my God, first of all, ma'am, you're going to need to cash in on some discernment. And then two, you learn to live with it. It doesn't mean it gets easier, but it does get easier to live with that knowledge. The shock of it goes away, but the pain really doesn't. You just learn to kind of live and work around it. And I pray for them to be able to do that. And I love the fact that Harry and Meghan have each other, because something that I really appreciated that Harry did in all of his interviews, but specifically in his interviews when he was promoting Spare, was acknowledge how hard it must have been for his mom, because he still couldn't fully grasp what his mother experienced because she was by herself, whereas he and Meghan had each other. And I love, love, love that even in their own experience, they always elevated Diana and her memory and gave credence to what she experienced. They did not gaslight her. They were very clear about, if we're experiencing this in these times, we can't even imagine what she was experiencing then, and to do so alone. I love that even in his own experience, he's still elevating his mother and not gaslighting her. And so it bugs me when people defend William, because it's no point in it. He could just leave them alone. Should he be sending out olive branches? Should he be making it right? Should he be accountable because he is your next king? Yes. Should he be accountable because he's a person with a soul, well, hopefully with a soul? Yes. Should he be accountable because he did wrong? And we all make mistakes. You can always go back and apologize and fix it. Yes. The fact that he won't is crazy, but then the fact that he keeps doubling down and finding new lows to hit is even crazier to me. I just can't imagine treating my siblings like that. I often say, as the youngest child, and then my dad has two other children who are also my siblings, obviously, but in my household, I was always the baby. And in my family unit, I was the baby. And as a sibling, I can't imagine wanting anything but the very best for my siblings. But even more to that, I am naturally wired to do anything within my power to make sure they get the best out of life. And I'll happily do that without question. Won't even think about, do I get this back? I don't care about that. I want my siblings to have the best, be the best, and no one can be louder than me when supporting and cheering for my siblings. So when I see behavior like Williams, it does throw me for a loop, because I know it exists, but damn, it doesn't have to. Grow up. Like, how are you not wired to support your sibling? Like, this is your roll dog. Like, even when you're not close, like even my younger siblings, we didn't grow up in the same household, but you cannot beat me supporting them. You cannot beat me loving them. I will outlove my siblings no matter who I'm up against. Their parents, their spouses, their friends, their roommates, I don't care. I love them more than you. And I'm willing to prove it. Like, I love my siblings to death, to life, into the next life. I can't imagine not wanting the best for them, but I can't even begin to imagine wanting harm for them. It's like trying to ask somebody who would willingly step in front of a bullet for somebody to be like, would you shoot the gun though? That's why William is so perplexing to me. And then on top of that, and I won't even get into being an aunt, but let me be very clear. As much as I love my siblings, I love my nieces and nephews 10 times more, probably a million times. And I love my siblings to death, but being an aunt is the sole purpose of my existence on this planet. So to go a lifetime and not have a relationship with my nephew and niece, William is a certain type of evil. That is, I'm already an uncle. Excuse me? Yes, you were already an uncle. You were uncle again. How about that? Like, nobody said you weren't an uncle to her kids, but this is your actual nephew. Like, this is your brother's baby. Like, this is your real trying to be an asshole. But I'm already an uncle. Excuse me? What? Like, I don't even think, and I don't even have to keep going through it, but you know what really get on my nerves is that you're so hell-bent on proving something to your brother and sister-in-law that you don't even care how bad it makes you look. That's how I know he's stupid as hell. Because at the end of the day, even if I had all the animosity in the world for my sister, wasn't nobody finna know about it. My sister and I have had a lot of ups and downs and petty moments and blah, blah, blah. My nieces and nephews not finna feel that. Excuse me? Hell, even my dogs don't feel that. Do you know, even when my sister and I are mid-beef, and it was only two of us growing up, so, and we 2.5 years apart. So yes, we beef. Me and my sister can be mid-beef. She's still gonna text me to tell my dog happy birthday on September 11th every year. So the fact of the matter is, William and Kate, but really William, I just can't fathom being that pig-headed. And maybe it's the ugly, scraggly beard and the bald head. Maybe that brings about a certain type of personality trait. So maybe I should shave my head and get a disgusting, scraggly beard and walk around here looking like a worm like him. And maybe I'll be able to relate, but I genuinely can't. I actually avidly avoid photos and videos of William just because he gets on my nerves. I just don't like bad people, and you can see it on his soul. Somebody actually just left a comment and said you can see his sins on his face, and you absolutely can. But let me tell you this, today when I was making that segment, I got a good look at William, and I sat with that while it was downloading. I just looked at his photo, and he was looking back at me, and he was staring back at me, and I looked at him and I said, damn, you look like a worm. Maybe I'm hard on you for no reason, because I haven't thought about his plight, walking around here looking like a worm, and then you have a brother who looks like Harry. I might be mad too. I don't know that I would be as evil, but I might become a little bit of a hater. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. If I had to look like William, and I sat around here looking like a whole ass lightning bulb whose bulb has dimmed, I might become a hater too. Maybe I'm being a little hard on his ugly ass. But no, I got a good look at him today, and it was so interesting because I said, I didn't realize you really look like that. Maybe I was just, I skim over his photos a lot. I'll just edit and put it in the video and go on. But Alicia DuPont, not you choosing violence. But it's one thing to just look like a worm. That would bring out the worst in anybody. But then to look like a worm when your brother is literally considered 25 most hottest man of all time, I might genuinely be shocked too. I might be petty too. I don't know that I would be as petty as William, but maybe I have been a little hard on him. I'll give him a little grace. That was it. That was the grace. I gave it to him. Y'all witnessed it. I wasn't all mean. I gave him a little grace. But next time y'all decide to throw eggs at Charles, don't forget to hit William with some too, please. I'm putting in my order now. I'll fund the eggs. I'll send you your $8.50. Get the big pack. I'll send you that. Buy the eggs and bop his ass one good time. Let me stop before William send me a cease and desist. I already got in trouble once for something I said in a video. I got an email and I was like, oh my God. It wasn't from William, but it was from someone saying, girl, do you realize you can get in trouble for that? Cut that out of your video. And I did. I was like, oh, thank you for letting me know. But anyway, let me hush. I had to cut down that segment because I went on a tangent. I make jokes, but genuinely, bad family is deadly. As we've seen, Harry and Meghan have been very blessed to continue living and focusing forward, but they have been put in some very dangerous situations. And I'm glad that they have so many people rooting for them and praying for them, and they have made some really safe and smart decisions to, maximize their opportunities to be safe in every situation. But they have been put in some very dangerous situations. They have been made very vulnerable at times. When you think of it in those terms, it's not funny. It's like I make fun of William because he's a worm, but genuinely him and Charles and the things that they have done could have had extremely fatal consequences. And in some case did, considering they miscarried a child. So they have already lost a child due to the antics from Jason Knauf, William, and Charles. To me, there is no coming back from that. Like you can't unevil that level of evil. I might say some petty things here and there. I might comment on my sister's corn at the family gatherings. I might say, who made this corn? I might do a little something like that. But at no point would I put poison in her corn. At no point would I poke the bear. At no point would I make fun of her. At no point would I, try to turn people against her or lie on her or put her in a dangerous situation. I can't understand that. As someone who actively beefs with people, no, I'm not out here to start beefs. But as someone who has had family conflict, it's just family conflict. At no point would it ever turn into a fight to the death. Like I'm trying to get you killed to prove my point. And so I say that to say, when people say, oh, you get too mad at William, families fight. No, families do fight. Families don't try to kill each other though. And so that's the problem I have. If William could just keep it on the playground and keep the little bickering, petty nonsense back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But William already crossed the line with the dog bowl. William already crossed the line with hiking Harry up by his neck. William has crossed lines that if it were me, William's head would be on the ground in shambles. I would have cracked that egg a while ago. And so He should be grateful that his brother loves him a damn sight more than he clearly loves his brother, because it's probably what's saving his life in some of those situations. If I were him, I would quit poking the bear, because I'm not about to go hike up no Apache pilot. I'm not going to go hike up no Apache pilot. I'm not going to throw no Apache pilot and expect that grace not to run out at some point. One day he going to clock him one good time and he going to be like, oh, shit. Maybe I should have been using caution. I know there have been times, I think I mentioned this before, when I used to poke at my sister all the time. She's older than me. And I used to bother my sister all the time. I used to just nitpick at her. She would try to do her bun with a sock and I would pull the sock out. And I would never really get in trouble for this stuff. And I should have been getting bopped. But I used to bother her. And she would always show a great deal of restraint. There was times where I would see her and she would be like, and I knew what that meant, but I never knew what was on the other side of that, because she would never, she loved me, right? One time I saw her have a fight after school, and I ran to help her and realized I might need to help the other girl, because I didn't know my sister. Not only did I not know she could fight, I didn't know she could fight like that. And she tore that girl up. And then another year she fought a boy and beat him to smithereens. And that's the best word I can use. And it was then that I realized I need to exercise a little more caution, because I didn't know she had all that in the tank. And I probably should have been dead a couple times. It's when I grew a certain type of appreciation for Sakia that I realized, oh, she really does love me, because I wouldn't put up with me. I would have been done Spartan kicked me out the house and took my licking. I would have just beat me up if I were her. And the fact that she never has to this day, I'm grateful. But William, let me tell you something. When you have a very athletic sibling, yes, they might show us some grace, but one day that grace will run out. Now, I was smart enough to stop the shenanigans before it got to that point. I never touched her sock bun again. I never touched her hair dryer again. As a matter of fact, I made her bed a couple of times after that fight. I said, oh, girl, your arms look tired. Let me go ahead and make your bed. You want me to wash your pillow? I had to help her out, because I didn't want her to turn that energy towards me or remembering something that I'd done to her. And so I was nice to her. So William, let me tell you this: when you have a sibling who is more athletic than you, count your blessings and stop. Because matter of fact, don't. Because I would relish the day when your head is cracked on the curb, because I'm about sick of your egg. I'm over it. And so anyway, I say that to say William is being extended a lot of grace on a lot of fronts. The fact that he continues to poke the bear, I'm wondering what his end game is. No pun intended. Shout out to Mr. Scobie. But I wonder what his end game is. When will it stop? Because again, you could just stop bothering Harry and Meghan. Y'all have gone your separate ways. You don't have any reason to overlap or intersect. You've clearly shown that when things happen and you guys have to be around each other, you can get through it, even if it does make your wife feel like it's the worst thing she's ever had to endure with her overprivileged ass. You can get through it. You can survive it. So why keep poking the bear? What's the goal? What are you trying to prove at this point? You've already shown us that you're a loser with no life. And even with a whole throne, you have nothing to look forward to. How sad and pathetic. Why do you need to keep proving it to us how bitter and petty and ridiculous you are? Why do you keep needing to show us that you're not fit to be king? We already know. You don't have to keep providing examples for that. We already know. Why is it that you have to continue to show us the new lows that you're willing to go? Is it because you're in your villain era? Is that all you have to look forward to? It's I know that I'm never going to be the leader they expect me to be or want me to be or think I should be. So why don't I just go full on villain era? Is that what's going on? Either way, it doesn't reflect at any point on Harry and Meghan. As a matter of fact, it actually just causes people who are probably towing the line to sympathize with them. You're actually losing your own supporters by doing these things, because most people can't fathom sitting down with someone who made sexually violent comments about their sister-in-law. That's scary. And it's, in my opinion, I'm not accusing him of anything, but I will say this. The fact that he could align with someone who made sexually violent comments about his sister-in-law tells me he aligns with those comments. In which case, I'm glad Meghan doesn't have to be around his crazy ass. We know that he will get violent. We know that. And we do know he'll put a finger in the face, because we saw him do that to his own wife. So I'm not surprised that he aligns with other violent misogynists. It's just really scary to me that that psychopath has so much unmitigated control and access when he probably should be in a cage of his own right next to his uncle. Let me get to some of these comments, y'all. I'm just over here ranting because I got mad. But let me get to some of these comments. Hi, Colette McCullough. Colette McCullough says, Sharion, their family has knocked off a lot of people. Reference Diana's. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Y'all remember we recapped Diana, her true story? Yes. They have a lot of bad blood with a lot of people and a lot of coincidences. I'll leave it. They have a lot of coincidences. I can't determine if they're the luckiest or the unluckiest family in the world, but they sure do have a lot of coincidences. They're never on the receiving end of the bad blood, though. Notice that. Interesting. Anyway, that's a good point you just made there. Hi, Joan Commonwealther. Joan Commonwealther said, hoping it's not a tapeworm. That would be terrible. You know what? He looks the part. When I'm not even kidding you, I know I make a lot of jokes, but today I was watching the video download and it was kind of doing like a little summary of all the images in the video. And I just got to look at him and I was like, I don't ever just sit and look at you. Wow, I didn't know you look like that. I feel like in my mind, he still looks like a hybrid between what he looks like now and what he looked like back then when he looked like an Abercrombie model, a little evil one, but still an Abercrombie model. I feel like I've softened him in my head because I remember what he used to look like. But today I got a full-on unmitigated view of that man. And I was just like, ooh, jump scare. Oh my God, no wonder Kate's so irritable. I wouldn't want to live in the same home with you either. Good thing she doesn't have to. Hi, Alicia DuPont. Alicia DuPont says the line was drawn when security was pulled. How do you come back from that? Exactly. How do you come back from that? And honestly, the saddest part is I don't even think they care if they come back from that. Like they're so callous to their family's well-being or just anyone's, but especially family. I just can't imagine being that callous. It's so sad. That's a good point. Hi, Queen Verta Sanchez. Queen Verta Sanchez says, future king or exactly as a human being, how can you carry on like this, let alone being a future king? And how can people, I don't know, I would feel very unsettled if I knew that he was going to be our next leadership. I would be unsettled with their current leadership. And as an American who's under the leadership we're under right now, I know a thing or two about being very fearful of the leadership in power. Oh my goodness. Every day I'm like, let me check the news, make sure we're not getting blown off the map today because that man pisses everybody off. Make sure he's not blowing us off the map. He's already deporting citizens, U.S. citizens to other countries and deporting them to prisons. And they haven't done anything wrong. And now he lost somebody. Goodness, leadership globally is in a state right now, isn't it? Hi, Gwen Daniel. Gwen Daniel says, Harry could beat William's ass with no problem. But he knows how those vipers are. Yes, exactly. And I also think he's probably a lot like myself, who's just like, I don't want to cause harm to people I care about. I feel like we can always communicate our way through anything. But if one day he just catch Harry on the wrong day, I certainly hope there's a camera or a Netflix camera somewhere nearby. Somebody pull out your phone, please. If he catch Harry on the wrong day, I would love to see him uppercut that egg into space. My goodness. Let me stop. I'm just over here being negative. Hi, Mina Ruth. Mina Ruth says, me and my sisters used to fight most of the time, especially me and my middle sister, but it has gotten better. Oh, I'm glad it's gotten better. I do think that's like a natural part of growing up is you tussle. Me and my sister used to kind of like when the moment would hit where we could be like, Dukes. Got your dukes up. Like we would, but when I realized that heifer was holding back, I think that was the day the fear of, you know how they say the fear of God struck through you? I think that was the day that the fear of God really struck me when I was like, oh, I've been tangoing with a bear this whole time. Like Zakia was fighting me like she was Teddy Ruxpin. Whole time she's a Berenstein bear. Like she could probably have put me through the floor. That girl is strong. And she always kind of showed it a little bit, like a little bit of strength, but I was like, oh, it's just because she's older than me. No, I'm pretty sure she was sparring with Mike Tyson when I would be asleep at night. She was sneaking out to spar with Mike Tyson because the haymaker she put on that one boy. I said, good God, girl, who been giving you all this rage to use in this fight? Turns out it was me. I'm pretty sure every time she struck a blow on somebody else, she was picturing her face. I hope she see. I'm gonna send this live stream to her because I definitely want to hear her perspective because I know that day when I saw her uppercut and put that girl in the headlock, I said, I didn't know you could do that in a real fight. I thought that was up you doing wrestling. I was pulling out Stone Cold Steve Austin moves and all kinds of stuff. I said, I know that's right. Let me be on your good side. Hi, K Odd. K Odd says, Jason Knauf, a royal rat. Right out the gate. I love it, Kay. Even Thomas Markle said he was involved with Knauf trying to stop the wedding. Evil, evil people. Whew. Y'all know something that I have been delivered from on this channel is talking about those Markles, because there are very few people that I've never met that can get under my skin like Thomas Markle and co. They really irritate me. While I'm on the conversation of just evil family in general, they are some of the worst human beings I've ever laid eyes on, particularly that Samantha. But more so Thomas, because at the end of the day, Thomas is Meghan's dad, and he should have the power to wrangle his other two children from harassing one of his kids. But it also kind of gave me a little bit of insight and curiosity, I should say, into Meghan's dynamic with those siblings growing up, because I know they weren't around each other a lot, but when they were, I wonder if they were hostile to her or standoffish or rude to her. I hope not, but that kind of thing don't come out overnight. Like, you don't go from being a loving sibling, even if you don't see each other that often, you don't go from being a loving sibling or even a moderately loving sibling to being an outright viper. So I'm really curious as to their dynamic growing up. Whatever it was, I will say I'm really proud of Meghan for being able to maintain her sense of peace and joy, because clearly she was being forced to be around some extremely toxic people. And how you maintain your sense of peace and love and joy and just innocence, in a sense, how you maintain that regardless of that kind of energy, I can't imagine. Because usually when you're around people like that, or you're forced to be around family members who wish you harm, you can become hardened to the world. You can lose your trust in the world. And the fact of the matter is that she still believes in good things, that she still invests in bringing joy, not only to herself, but to others. She can still love with an open heart. That takes a lot of courage and bravery. I don't know how she does it, because I don't know that I would be able to move forward. I hope I would be, but I don't know if I would be able to move forward and trust myself or others to do right by me after having been surrounded by so many vipers. I feel like I would always have a guard up. I don't know. I'm glad that she doesn't, but I'm so curious as to, I said this before, I would love to know, like, what is her mental health care routine? Like, I know she goes to therapy and she does yoga, but I wonder what else she does, because it would be really hard to not go into a hole and become jaded with the type of people that she's been forced to be around. Harry as well too. Let's put Harry in there too, because that's crazy. Hi, Colette McCullough. Colette McCullough says he showed William grace when he pushed him in his home. Not in my house. He showed him a lot of grace, did he not? And then the fact that William was like, hit me back. That man is crazy. That man is crazy. Like, come on. You are someone who has access to the best education in the world, the best tutors in the world. He should know how to communicate and dialogue his way through anything. The fact that he was trying to fight, that man is crazy. Hi, K-Odd. K-Odd says, we need spare two, all the nasty secrets out. The family aren't going to reconcile with Harry. And honestly, good for Harry and Meghan, because I would never, even if they came back and said, you know what, we were wrong, we've changed. They could come back with every excuse in the world, and I would always feel like it was a ploy, because you just don't go from being that doggone evil to being normal. Not even good people, just breaking even. I can't imagine. They just seem like very, very toxic people. I agree. Hi, Gwen Daniel. Gwen Daniel says he was trying to set Harry up, the clown. I completely agree. Okay, let me get to the last segment. So we've gotten through the drama and the mess, but now we have a positive segment coming up. So let's get started.
Things for sure. No matter what's going on Shutter Island, Harry and Meghan will continue to progress forward. Nothing stops them, which is why I named today's live stream Unstoppable. Because no matter what's being said about them, no matter what drama people are desperately trying to cling to, and no matter what image of them we have to deal with this week, one thing we do know for sure is that Harry and Meghan are about their business, they're about their family, and they are about progress. And everything that's rendered from them directly, from their camp, from Team Sussex, is positive and on the up and up. They don't meddle in the drama. They don't meddle in the nonsense. They simply do the work. And for that, we can always be grateful. Case in point, the 22nd Annual Living Legends of Aviation Awards. They'll be taking place in Beverly Hills on April 25th, so that's next week. And I have a little bit of an update directly from PR Newswire. It says the 22nd Annual Living Legends of Aviation Award, to be held on Friday, April 25th at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, will honor those who have made significant contributions to aviation and aerospace. John Travolta, the official ambassador of aviation, and the living legends of aviation are excited to welcome 3 new remarkable inductees to their ranks. Now, I know y'all remember this. We talked about Prince Harry's induction last year. Living legend of aviation Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, as well as living legend Morgan Freeman and others will be honoring the aerial fire crews that were instrumental in the fight against the Los Angeles aerial fires that were so destructive in January of this year. This memorable segment will pay special tribute to all the men and women who were involved in the aerial operations as they flew hundreds of missions in unforgiving conditions to protect and save people and property. I'm so glad they're being honored. And of course, I'm so happy that Prince Harry is part of it. He has consistently shown thanks and gratitude and honored several different groups of people who were instrumental in fighting those fires. So this is no surprise, but it's wonderful to see that he's returning, especially after his induction. And I love that this is the reason that he's returning. As always, Prince Harry is continuing to show up for others. Oh, but that's not all. The 2025 Time 100 Summit and Gala made an announcement. Time will convene the 2025 Time 100 list of the world's most influential people in New York City at the Time 100 Summit on April 23rd and the Time 100 Gala on April 24th, which will air as a primetime television special on May 4th on ABC. Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. The 5th annual Time 100 Summit will feature leaders from the global time community to spotlight solutions and encourage action towards a better world. Speakers for the day-long event include Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and founder of As Ever, actor and producer Demi Moore, co-CEO of Netflix Ted Sarandos, actor and entrepreneur Ryan Reynolds, comedian Nikki Glaser, co-founder and CEO of Google DeepMind Demi Hassabis, Director General of the World Health Organization Dr. Tedros Adhanom, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing that, Chair of the Advisory Board of the Anti-Corruption Foundation, and the Chair of the Human Rights Foundation, Yulia Navalnaya. So I'm so sorry if I mispronounced any of those. I definitely gave it my best, but it's wonderful to hear that Meghan is going to be a speaker, and she was named first, by the way. This is not Meghan or Harry's first tango with Time 100. As you can probably see on my shelf, they were on the cover of Time magazine as the most influential couple. I believe it was 2021. They also hosted Time 100's chats. So they have had a lot of involvement with Time and Time 100. And I always appreciate the content that they produce when they work together. They're definitely an influential couple individually and together. So I love that they have continued their relationship with Time, Time Magazine, and the Time 100 Summit and Gala. So I'm certainly looking forward to this. And I hope Meghan's speech and her event, whatever she participated in, I hope that that is part of what's televised. They would be a fool to not televise Meghan. But anyway, as you can see, Harry and Meghan have things to do. They are continuing on with their life, no matter what's going on over there on that island. Always ongoing, always moving forward, always progress oriented. I guess you could just simply say they're unstoppable. Y'all let me know, are you going to tune into this Time 100 Summit and Gala? Well, the televised portion, or do you have tickets and will you be in attendance of either of these? Let me know in the comment below. I just wanted to take a super short break to say, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you are interested, feel free to participate in the live chat going on now, or feel free to leave a comment if you do not wish to engage in the live chat. Once again, I know I do this all the time. I'm enjoying a channel, I'm enjoying the video, I'm just having a great time, and I completely forget to hit subscribe. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you wish, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so that the algorithm on YouTube knows that you like my content. Now, let's get back to the show.
So that is all I have for y'all today, but I am so excited about, one, seeing Prince Harry attend. Well, I'm not sure if it'll be televised, but hopefully it will be. We'll have some video footage just like last time of Prince Harry attending the Living Legends of Aviation Awards again. And then I'm excited to see Meghan and her speech. I'm 100% sure they're going to televise her speech since they are televising something. So I'm excited about that on May 4th. But if any of y'all are in attendance, please know I am jealous, but also let me know so that I can come follow you and I can see your firsthand coverage. I would love to see that. So that is all I have for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. So sorry it took so long. You'll know my classes have picked up. I'm attending 2 different universities so that I can get through this accelerated program as quickly as possible and get the process begun, or get the process started of owning my private practice. It's been a lot. And so I've been moving things around, trying to make time to do this stuff, but it feels good to convene. So I'm going to get back to 2 live streams a week, and then of course the same videos, of course, and then we're going to pick back up tomorrow with the live watch and reaction on Patreon of Confessions of a Female Founder, episodes 1 and 2. So I'm so excited about that. That's all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. I am also back on Facebook. I realized that it is one of the only ways I am going to know what's going on in my family because I'm always trying to play telephone, but everybody has different. So I said, I'm gonna go back to Facebook. I'm gonna just bite the bullet, go back to Facebook so I can see what everybody's up to. I am on there. There was apparently 3 other pages of Sharion's on there when I got back. So I'm the only verified one. Thankfully, Facebook hit me with the badge when I confirmed who I was, and then we started the process of removing the other 3. So weird. Why would you? I'm out of everybody you could pretend to be. You want to be my boring ass? Like, take these classes. Since you want to pretend to be me, go turn in some of these assignments. That would be helpful. But no, just kidding. But no, find me on Facebook if y'all are on there. Me and Queen Verta Sanchez have found each other, and I've seen a few other people on there. So I also follow Sussex Glow. So you'll see me comment on there a couple of times. So if you see me, come follow me and become my friend. I'll see y'all over there. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.